Hi guys, it's Funker here, and today's project is to turn this blue Chevy Nomad into a red Gasser Nomad. As you'll see, it's not in bad condition, but I'm going to be changing the wheels, etc. Let's get it apart. Simply 2 rivets on this one. Drilling out here with a 2mm drill bit. Minding not to go too deep. I'm going to speed things up now, just using a 4mm bit just to remove the flange. Time to get it apart. Nice, easily pops apart. Just drilling down so I can put a screw in later. Just doing the rear one because the front post will be removed. To make things a little simpler, just going to use a nice handy vise. These vices are absolutely brilliant if you're working on these cars. And the aid of a jeweler's saw. It looks as though I'm putting a lot of pressure on here as the car and the vise is moving, but I'm not actually doing so. As soon as you put any pressure on these, it just snaps the blades because they're so fine and so brittle. I'm speeding things up again, otherwise the video will be too long. I've just gone down the right hand side and now gone down the left and just going along the wiper valance. And there you go, one front bonnet, which is quite a nice spare. We'll put that to one side. Now just filing around the edges, just get rid of any sharp burr points that are on there, and where I haven't quite accurately sawn it, I can now just make sure it's all nice. So part of the preparation. The better you get it now, the better it'll look later. Just checking to make sure it still goes together nicely, which it does. Now it's time to use the other of the engines. I've used one of these lately in a recent builds as I've done that's not been aired yet. So I'm just going to use the extra engine now into this gasser. Comes out quite easy because it's only plastic. Now time to modify it to make it fit nice and snug. Doesn't take long. A few little trial and errors. Now we're going to remove the wheels and clean the base up. The axles were really rusted on this, so I'm not bothered about the condition of the axles. I'll keep the wheels for later projects because the wheels are quite nice. I've got nothing against the wheels on it whatsoever. You'll saw me there just try the base on the body. Just wanted to make sure I hadn't actually bent the base. Giving it a good clean up because it was really badly oxidised. Don't know if it had been left out in the elements or whatever by a child. I've no idea. I picked this one up at a local sale. Cost me next to nothing. Make sure the bumpers are nice and clean. Now for removing the paint, the better strippers we'll call it now. Just dunk that in there, get rid of it, put it to one side. Whilst that's in there, we're just going to fit the engine. All I'm going to use here is some 5-minute epoxide. Just making it so as it actually fit in there level at the point. So here we go, part A and part B. Give it a good old mix in. It's only 5-minute stuff, so it goes off nice and quickly, so it doesn't hold me up. Now whilst that's there, whilst that's actually drying, this is about 4 minutes after putting it in here, because I've literally just put the engine, glued the engine in, so I thought, right, I might as well get this out. And as you'll see, it's the paint's come off all nicely, so this is ready for a quick scrub off. A little warm water and mother-in-law's toothbrush, as usual. And it came out nice and clean. So we're just going to give it a quick brush over there with the old rotary tool and a brass wire attachment on there. Remember guys, if you're actually using these, make sure that you're actually using some eye protection, because these things fling the wires out like a porcupine in a spin dryer. So as you'll see, I'm just using some of this. I'm going to make a bulkhead up, or a firewall as a lot of people call them, and what I'm actually using is some PET G. I've actually printed this on my 3D printer, just 2 layer heights at 0.2 layers. So this is 0.4mm thick, and it cuts easy. As you'll see, it's flexible. I've just put this on just to show you. Actually, it looks like checker plate. Fantastic bit of detail on there. So now we're just going to make some headers up. I'm just using some 1.75 millimeter filament for the 3D printer. We can heat it up and bend it quite nicely, and it doesn't look far out on size for being right. So I'm just warming it up, not actually melting it, just warming it up so as it bends. Checking it, make sure, and gluing it all in place. There I was just trimming the ends off so it's all nice and level on both sides. This is my first attempt at making headers, so it's not as easy as what I was expecting, I'll be perfectly honest. So as we've got the headers coming out by the wheel arch, I'm just going to remove the side pipes. We don't need them anymore, so I'll just use I think it's about a 40 grit, I think, on the it could be an 80 grit on the rotary tool. Makes easy work of it. Then I'm just trimming them back just to make sure it's level with the bodywork. so that it now looks like the lower sills. There's a little tiny bit, so I'm just making sure it's all nicely back there. Just using a file. Only takes a couple of minutes, so it's worth doing. It's time to get rid of all them the moulding lines, etc. There's quite a lot of mould lines on there that I've had to file down and sand down and file more and sand more. As you'll see there's quite a heavy one. So we'll just use a file and get rid of that one again. It amazes me that when you look at these cars, when they come from the out of the shop, they're absolutely perfect and smooth and everything, but then when you actually strip them, the amount of flaws that's actually in the bodywork is unreal. But their paint is that thick, it just blitzes over the top of it and you never see it again. But we don't want that. We want a nice smooth surface to spray on. The smoother it is, the better it is for spraying, and we want to get this in the spray booth soon. So sooner it goes in there, sooner it comes out of there, sooner it dries, sooner we can carry on. Just a quick wet brush over and make sure there's no bits of anything stuck on there. Into the spray booth, 3/4 of the Tamiya acrylic red. I do apologise, guys, that it's actually showing up as brown again on my vid cam. I don't know, one of the settings must have dropped again or altered. As you'll see there, I'm mixing the acrylic paint with about 30% of isopropyl alcohol because I want this to dry pretty quick. I'm giving it about 5 minutes flash off time in between each coat. It's coming up slowly, but as it says here, it is actually red. I'll post a photo up later and you'll see the actual colour of it. Just doing the bulkhead the same colour as the actual car. I only done it in the Molotow pen just to show you the actual the detail on there. And for a nice final coat, the third coat nice and wet, so we get a lovely shine on it. I'm spraying here at about 20 psi, about 1.5 bar. The nozzle I'm using, I believe, is a 0.4. No needle restriction, so when I pull the trigger it can fully open. If a lot of you are aware, you have a third adjustment on the back of the airbrush, which is actually for how far the needle can open. Time to fit some new axles and wheels. What I'm doing here, I'm just flattening off the tops of the underside where they were rounded, and just so I can put the tubes into there. I'm gonna cut some grooves. I'm placing the new axle directly on the underside of the chassis just to give it that gasser height. Put the rear wheels in. I've actually extended the slots down to lift the back end up slightly because I'm using quite oversized wheels on here. No need for a tube on the back end. The front end there, what I've done is I've cut the tube to length, and then I've just filed two slots in so that once the axle pins go through the wheel and into the actual the tubing, I can put some super glue on there, and that will hold the pins in place nicely without causing any problems with the wheels. And I'm using CA gel, so it's not going to spread down through the axle and glue the wheels on either. And just to make sure it's in place, we have super glue underneath, super glue holding the axle pins. Then the axle goes on, and now super glue over the top, so it's like an axle sandwich. And there's a lot of us do. You'll CA glue just to very quickly set it and turn it nice and rock solid. Once again, a thank you to the helicopter repair engineer at a local airfield. Actually told me about this whilst I was working on his house. That's what they do to repair helicopter blades, the chips on the leading edge. So now for the rebuild. Just putting the glass in now. So it's glass in, decals on, and then some touching up with the old Molotov and a bit of weathering on the front grille, rear lights, and then it'll be ready for the reveal then. I'm just adding some decals to the actual wheels because it didn't have any lettering on them. So I've had some left over from the AC Cobra build. So I've stuck them on the tyres. But they go on, and they look okay. Well, I think so. Just putting a screw in there to hold it all together. Just touching up around the decals because it's white writing. What I've done is I've put white writing on the black background, but the white shows around where I've cut it out because it's on a white backing sheet, so just a little bit of black around the edge just to hide it. Yeah, the muzzle toe to just to clean up the engine bay. Do the headlights, rear lights, then we'll put a bit of red on there. It's almost reveal time, guys. I've enjoyed doing this one, I must admit. It's my first attempt at a gasser. I know where I've gone wrong, but I'm sure some of you will comment, which is good because I can learn from it. So please keep the comments coming. So this is what we start off with. Finally, we've got the reveal. The blue Hot Wheels Chevy Nomad in its standard play-worn condition. And now There we go, there's my gasser. First attempt. I'm quite happy with it. I'm not happy with the front wheels. The front wheels are out too far. The headers are in the way. I need to learn how to do headers properly. So if I can have some feedback, guys, that would be absolutely brilliant from some of you that do them. Like I said, it is actually red. It's not brown. So here's a photo to show the red. My VidCam's dropped to setting. Cheers for watching, guys. Thanks to all my new subscribers as well. Please keep on watching, keep on sharing, please keep on liking, and keep on commenting below. Cheers, guys. Catch you soon.